Hello, I'm Jonathan Bowman Perks, and welcome back to my favourite time of the week. And I'm very lucky to have Dr. Catherine Baird with me, who is a Senior Vice President in Emirates. And she is in charge of all the aircrew training, 22,000 people, 140 different nationalities. And it's a fascinating job. Not only that, but she's big into leadership and also big into leaving a legacy and charity and all that you give back and the difference you make to society. So I'm really chuffed to have you here. And Alex recommended that you came, and I'm delighted you are.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
So Catherine, tell us a bit about the role you're doing at the moment. So it sounds really interesting.
Oh, well, as you've mentioned, yes, 140 nationalities, 22,000 cabin crews. So in a nutshell, I look after everything from new joining crew from all over the world arriving into Dubai, because all of our crew are based in Dubai. So leaving home, coming, joining us, inducting them obviously into the company, but also into Dubai. And then all of the training that is requisite for the job of being cabin crew. So everything from the safety and emergency procedures side of things, all the way through to how they look in their uniform, and service training, of course, customer service, and coming under my umbrella is the medical training and the security training, but I work closely with my colleagues in group security and group medical who provide that service. But in terms of the overarching responsibility for how the crew are trained, that sits under my team.
Great.
So yeah, very exciting.
Because training and leadership and development has been in your blood. I mean, you began in teaching.
I did.
And when we were talking about, I was asking you who was inspiring to you. You were saying actually it was your parents. Can you say a bit more about why you chose your parents as inspiration?
I guess, I'm blessed. I come from a family where, my parents have always been incredibly encouraging, very, aspirational for us, of course, of children, but never really put their own requirement on you. It was about being happy and doing what you love doing. I think, as we talked about, I come from a family of 4 children under 5, so my mother is a huge inspiration, and my father, and basically I think I've been busy since I was about 18 months old. Certainly been organising, managing and supporting, so I think from that perspective my parents, and huge integrity, moral compass, really just strong, good people.
Yeah. And then when I asked you also who else you found inspiring, you have a broad cross section, up, down, sideways, and say a bit more about that, the people who've influenced you.
Yeah, it was interesting when you asked me that question. There isn't kind of any one person. There's a number of people. So throughout my 40 years, I've been really inspired by a couple of CEOs who, to date, I still am in contact with, and bosses who I'm in contact with who continue to mentor me or to be my sounding board, but also peers that I've met along the way, and more so people who've either been on my team or subordinates or whatever. I've learned so much from young people, and I guess I come from a view that I've always held the thought that the smartest thing you could ever do as a leader is to hire people who are much smarter than you are.
Time and again.
And then you just give them the opportunity to grow and flourish, and all of a sudden, my gosh, you look fabulous. It's great.
It's a very interesting point you make, Catherine, because I've come across some leaders. In fact, in the army, I had a colonel who I worked for, and he crushed us as the level below and diminished us and made us less. So he thought that made him look better. And the people below our level, so they weren't the direct champion, they all loved him. They called him the king. But actually, he went out of his way to stop any kind of challenge and stop us rising and doing well, which was really disappointing. But yet I've met other leaders much more inspiring who they go, look, my job is to just hire great people, get out of the way and let them soar like eagles. Don't keep them like turkeys in a barn under a spotlight and being, diminished and lessened.
I look, absolutely. And one of, I don't know if you've seen it, it's very old now. There's a fabulous TED Talk by Sir Ken Robinson.
Oh, I love Sir Ken.
Oh, he's
all
one
his
of my
videos,
favourites.
the top 3. I watch them again and again.
Well, one of his ones probably about 10 years ago, I think it is now, and it's linked to his book, and obviously education is his passion, and that's my passion as well.
Yeah.
But in this particular talk, he talks about the fact that, you know, as leaders, whether you're in an education environment or an organisation, it doesn't matter, you know, gone are the days of command and control. You know, your job is climate control.
Yeah.
And I love it. And he gave this really fabulous analogy about the
gardener,
the Death Valley or something.
Yeah, Death
and
Valley.
how the fact that nothing is actually dead under the right conditions. Even
everything flourishes.
Everything flourishes. And for me, that really resonates with
so
me.
true. I use his words even now, like about, it's not about command and control, it's about climate or environmental control, and we're not puppet masters or chess masters, we're gardeners. We're creating this right thing.
I use that, and there's a great saying, it's on my wall, and all of my my team know it, and it's when I bring our crew in who are being promoted into supervisory and the leader on board position, which we call a purser, and they all know it, and it's I'll get it wrong, but it's a saying that's simply like, you know, if the flower isn't blooming, you don't fix the flower, you fix the environment.
So great, so great.
Yeah.
Final two thoughts. Learning from mistakes. You shared a story about that you learnt from mistakes, which I think is so important, which leads us on nicely to your closing top tip. So what's the leading from mistake?
In my 30s, you know, gung-ho, you know, I'd done some great stuff and had some great opportunities. I got headhunted for the first time, which is fabulous when you're headhunted the first time. You feel very proud, as you rightly should. But I made a big mistake where getting headhunted, I went in on my white horse, you know, ready to save the world for all the people who clearly, you know, needed my help. And I crashed and burned big time. So I learned a huge lesson then about arrogance is the biggest danger to leadership.
It is.
And then that takes me on to my two top tips, which are humanity and humility. Is that I just believe that if you approach everything with humanity, regardless of what you're doing, any conversation you're having, whether you're having to make people redundant, disciplinary, whether you're, you know, celebrating, remembering that, you know, the person in front of you is a human being. So if you have kindness, respect, dignity, you're never going to go wrong. And humility. And if you are humble, people will give you their talent, their passion, their love, and that's the only thing that's going to get you innovation, creativity, and success. So it's pretty simple. The two H's, humility and humanity.
I think that's great, and particularly with humility and the humanity comes a vulnerability that with leaders can give a bit of themselves and not be perfect.
Oh, absolutely, and we're not.
No,
we never are.
no.
And of course, I'm an educator, so learning is lifelong. You know.
And as an educator, was it my daughter who's a teacher like you used to be? Fail first attempt in learning.
Oh, absolutely,
That's
absolutely, indeed. And that's the only way you do learn is through failure. And I think Steve Jobs, everybody says that. So many people have talked about that. I think Einstein even said, you know, the only way to success is through failure. And of course, if you're not failing, it means you're not trying hard enough. You're not pushing yourself, going outside boundaries, and all those sorts of things that we know is about how we drive success in our world.
Catherine, thank you. They said you were going to be inspiring. You are inspiring.
Thank you.
Lovely having you on the
pleasure.
show.
Great
Thank you
pleasure.
very much.
Thanks.
Thank you.